I'm Miss Sarah, and this is At Home Makerspace, where every week I show you how to make fun projects with things you can find at home. This week is part 2 of our paper helicopter series. Last week I showed you how to make this classic paper helicopter, so if you want to learn how to make this one, be sure to watch part 1. This week, I'm going to be showing you 3 brand new designs to make paper helicopters, and we'll test them against our classic to see if any of them work better. So let's go ahead and get started. The first design I'll be showing you is one I like to call the heart. To make this project, you'll need paper or an index card, a ruler, a pencil, a paper clip, scissors, and either glue, tape, or a stapler. I've decided to use an index card to make mine. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is measure and draw some lines that divide my index card into thirds. Since my index card is 3 inches wide, I'm going to draw some lines at the 1 inch and 2 inch marks. I'm going to mark these on the bottom and on the top so that I can easily connect my marks to draw some nice straight lines. If you're using something other than an index card, measure the width and divide that number by 3. So if your paper is 6 inches wide, you divide 6 by 3 to get 2 and make marks every 2 inches. On one of the lines, I'm going to make a mark 1 inch from the right, and on the other line, I'm going to make a mark 1 inch from the left. Now we are ready to cut. I'm going to cut along the line, stopping at the mark that I made 1 inch in. So for the bottom line, I'm going to cut from the right until I reach that mark. The rest should stay connected to the other part of the index card. And I'm just going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side, cutting until I reach that mark and leaving the rest connected. Now we're going to take the ends of those flaps we just cut and put them together like this. Now you'll need something to help stick those ends together. I am using a stapler, but you could also use tape or glue, depending on what you have around the house. Now add your paper clip to the ends we just stuck together. Grab your scissors and we're going to round out the corners. So go ahead and round out 1 and repeat the same thing on the other 4 corners. And there is your finished helicopter. Okay, now let's go ahead and test out our design to see how it works. As I mentioned last week, when you're testing out a paper helicopter, you'll want to drop it from as high as possible. So make sure to reach up really high when you're getting ready to drop it, or ask a tall member of your household to help. If your house has a staircase or a balcony, you could also try dropping it from there. If you're going to test it outside, try to choose a day that doesn't have too much wind. All right, I'm going to go outside and try this one out. Next, I'll be showing you how to make a design I call the fish. To make this design, you'll need paper like an index card or printer paper, a ruler, pencil, and scissors. I decided to use the sheet of paper for this one, and I'm going to start by measuring and cutting a long, thin piece of paper. I decided to make this strip of paper 1 inch wide, so I'm marking 1 inch on either side of my paper, using my ruler to connect those marks, and then I can draw a line between them that will be a guide when I get ready to cut. All right, so now grab your scissors and cut along the line you just drew. This will give you a long, thin strip of paper that you can use to make your helicopter. Now you're going to grab your ruler again, and starting from one end, make a mark that is 1/3 to 1/4 the length of your paper, and do the same thing on the other side, minus 3 inches. Using that mark, I'm going to draw a line that goes down 1/2 inch, and at the other mark, I'm going to draw a line that goes up 1/2 inch. Now grab those scissors and cut those lines that we just made. Your cut should only go through half of the paper. Flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Now we are going to insert one of those slits into the other slit, and your helicopter is complete. All right, now let's take this one outside and see how it works. Remember, when you're getting ready to drop it, hold it so the curved part is facing down. And finally, the last design I'll be sharing is one I like to call the triangle. For this project, you'll need a sheet of printer paper, a ruler, a pencil, scissors, and some tape. To get started, I'm going to measure and cut a piece of paper that is 8 inches by 9 inches. So I'm going to start by measuring 9 inches on the long side. And you guys have seen me do this before. I'm going to mark at the top and the bottom and then draw a line between them to connect everything. Now I'm going to measure 8 inches the other way. So I am making marks on the left and right side of my paper, putting a ruler between them and drawing a straight line. Now I can grab my scissors and cut on those lines that I just drew. Now I'm going to grab my ruler again, and on the 9-inch side, I'm going to draw a line at 5 inches. This 5-inch side will be used to create our wings, while the remaining 4 inches will be used to create our base. So that's 5 inches and 4 inches. So now we can work on the wings. Go ahead and place your ruler on the line we just drew and make a mark every 2 inches. So my marks will be at 2, 4, and 6. Do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll draw some lines to connect them. The rectangles we're creating will be the blades of our helicopter. Now, you might notice that we'll be making 4 rectangles, but our helicopter only had 3 blades. That's because we're actually going to completely cut off one of these rectangles. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark an X in the one I am cutting completely off. Now we're going to grab our scissors and start cutting on those lines we just drew. Make sure you only cut until the end of the line. And with this one, I'm actually going to cut the rectangle completely off. But for the rest, you want to make sure that you keep it connected to the rest of the paper. So I'm just going to repeat and cut down these other 2 lines. So as you can see, we now have the 3 blades of our helicopter. Now we're going to work on the base. This was that 4-inch section we measured earlier. Fold this section in half by folding the bottom up to the line at the base of the blades. Give it a crease and unfold it. Now fold the bottom section in half by taking the end and bringing it up to that crease line. Give that one a good crease. And fold it up again, like so. Now we're going to begin folding it into that triangle shape. So we're going to fold the base where we had that extra flap cut off, and then we're going to fold it at each of the blades. Since we have a few layers of paper that make the base kind of thick, you'll want to make sure you take your time folding and creasing it really well. When you're all done, unfold, take your tab, and insert it into the pocket made on the other side. Now here I'm folding it so those extra folds are on the inside, but when I experimented a bit, I actually found it worked better with those extra folds on the outside. Now grab your tape, and we're going to use a small piece of tape to hold our base in place. Now the last thing is to fold out all of those blades. You'll notice that we end up with a nice triangle shape in the middle of our helicopter. And now it is complete. Now let's take this design outside and see how it works. Now that we've completed all 3 of our new designs, we can test them out against the classic design that we made last week to see which ones work best. Now I'm going to drop all of these helicopters from the same height at the same time, and we'll see how long they take to hit the ground. Now what I want you guys to do is take a moment to guess which of our 4 designs you think will take the longest to hit the ground. Why do you think that? If you want, you can even try ranking them, which will hit the ground first, second, third, and last. Now, as you saw from my experiment, the classic design was the winner, hitting the ground last. But I want you to try this experiment at home and see if you get the same results that I did or different results. Let me know what happened down below in the comments. I also want to encourage you to try experimenting with the design of the paper helicopters I showed you how to make this week. In our video last week, I showed you different ways that you could play around with design by changing things like the material or the size. So try those experiments on our new designs to see if you can make one that works even better than our classic. We hope you have enjoyed our 2-part series about making, experimenting with, and testing paper helicopters. I'd love to see what you guys have been working on, so please remember to take a picture or a video of your project to share with us at the library. You can do so through our Facebook at www.facebook.com/FHCPL. Through our Instagram, our handle is @FHCPL, or you can send us an email. Our email address is makerspace@finleylibrary.org. I hope you've enjoyed playing around with paper helicopters these past couple of weeks. Be sure to come back next week for a brand new project. See you then. Bye.